My beloved brothers and sisters, when we speak about the shining lights of Islam, about the noble companions, the family of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, our hearts naturally incline towards those who stood firm for truth, even when the world turned against them. Today, I want to share with you reflections on the life and the sacrifice of Hussain ibn Ali. May Allah be pleased with him, the beloved grandson of our Prophet Muhammad. Peace and blessings be upon him. Hussain was not an ordinary man. He was not simply remembered because of his lineage, though indeed his lineage was among the most blessed that ever walked on earth. He was remembered because of his unwavering commitment to Allah, his firmness upon the truth, his refusal to bow down to falsehood, and his willingness to give his life rather than compromise on the values of Islam. Hussain was a man who carried the blood of the Prophet, peace be upon him, but more importantly, he carried the spirit of the Prophet in his actions, his character, his humility, and his devotion to Allah. When you hear the name Hussain, don't just think of a tragic story. Think of courage. Think of faith. Think of dignity. Think of a man who refused to sell his religion for a worldly price. Hussain teaches us that sometimes in life, you will be called to make decisions that are not popular, decisions that will cost you comfort, wealth, and maybe even life itself. But if those decisions mean standing with Allah, then those are the decisions that matter most. My brothers and sisters, the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, loved his grandchildren immensely. He would carry Hassan and Hussain on his shoulders. He would kiss them. He would pray for them. He once said, Hassan and Hussain are the leaders of the youth of paradise. This is not a simple statement. It means that their lives were destined to carry lessons for every believer until the day of judgment. Hussain's life was not one of seeking position or power. He was not a man who ran after this world. He lived simply, prayed sincerely, and advised wisely. But when falsehood began to creep into leadership, when truth was being mixed with corruption, Hussain realized that silence would be betrayal. And sometimes, silence is not an option for a believer. There comes a point when you must stand and say, no, I will not accept injustice. I will not support oppression. I will not betray my Prophet's teachings. It was this stand that brought him to Karbala, a place that would forever be remembered in history. But before we even reach Karbala, we must understand the heart of Hussain. Why did he stand? What was it about him that made him reject compromise? Hussain's heart was connected to Allah. His eyes were focused on the hereafter. His soul was filled with the teachings of the Prophet. He knew that this life is temporary. He knew that real honor is not in worldly leadership, but in the pleasure of Allah. My beloved brothers and sisters, think about your own life for a moment. How many times have we compromised our faith for a small worldly gain? How many times have we lied just to escape embarrassment? How many times have we stayed silent in the face of injustice because we were afraid of losing our job, our status, or our wealth? Hussein's stand reminds us that faith must be lived, not just spoken. Faith is not tested when everything is easy. Faith is tested when standing up for truth comes with a heavy price. Hussein's journey was not a journey of politics. It was a journey of principles. And that is why his legacy continues to inspire millions across the world, Muslims and even non-Muslims. People look at Hussain and see a man of principle, a man who chose dignity over disgrace, truth over falsehood, sacrifice over comfort. Now, picture the scene, my brothers and sisters. Hussain leaves his home, knowing the risks ahead. He knows that the forces against him are powerful, numerous, and merciless. But he also knows that Allah is greater than all of them combined. He carries his family with him, showing us that the stand for truth is not just for men, not just for warriors, but for the entire family, for the women, for the children, for the community. They all carried that torch of faith together. Imagine the strength of a man who knows that his family may suffer, yet still trusts Allah enough to move forward. Imagine the patience of women like Zainab, the sister of Hussain, who stood firm when everything seemed lost. This was not just a tragedy. It was a testimony of the human spirit when it is connected to Allah. Hussein's name became a symbol because he lived by the Quran. When Allah says, "O you who believe, stand firmly for justice as witnesses to Allah, even if it be against yourselves or your parents and relatives." Hussain lived that verse. He stood firmly even when it meant standing almost alone. And when Allah says, "Do not incline toward those who do wrong, lest the fire should touch you," Hussain lived that too. He refused to incline towards oppression, even when the easy path was to compromise. My beloved brothers and sisters, Karbala was not about numbers. Hussain was outnumbered. But history has shown us that truth is not measured by majority. Truth is truth, even if one man holds it, and falsehood is falsehood, even if millions follow it. Hussain teaches us that we do not count strength in numbers, but in faith. Today, when you face peer pressure, when you feel surrounded by people who are calling you to sin, remember Hussain. When you feel alone because you are trying to practice your deen in a society that mocks faith. Remember Hussain. When you feel like giving up because the struggle seems too big, remember Hussain. His story is not for history books alone. It is for you and me, here and now. Let us pause for a moment and reflect. What is our Karbala? For Hussain, it was a battlefield. For you, it might be your workplace, where everyone cheats, and you are pressured to cheat too. For you, it might be your school, where everyone engages in haram, and you feel tempted to follow. For you, it might be your heart, fighting the whispers of Shaitan every day. Whatever your Karbala is, the lesson of Hussain is the same. Do not bow to falsehood, even if you stand alone. And remember, my brothers and sisters, Hussain did not die in vain. His blood watered the seeds of truth. His sacrifice exposed the corruption of his time. His patience became a beacon for all generations. And above all, his legacy became a reminder that Allah does not forget those who give their lives for Him. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said that the most beloved deeds to Allah are the most difficult ones done sincerely. Hussein's deed was the most difficult. Giving his life, his family, his comfort. But it was all done sincerely for Allah. And that is why he is remembered with love and respect until today. My brothers and sisters, in part one of this reminder, I want you to take away one message. Hussein's life was about standing with Allah no matter the cost. Ask yourself, are you willing to stand with Allah when it becomes difficult? Are you willing to lose the world to gain the hereafter? Are you willing to be unpopular because you chose the path of faith? If Hussain could do it with everything at stake, surely we can do it in our smaller tests of life. Let your heart remember Hussain when you are weak. Let your faith be inspired by his courage. Let your soul be uplifted by his dignity. And above all, let your life reflect the principle that guided him. Allah comes first, always. My beloved brothers and sisters, in the last part we reflected on the noble character of Hussain ibn Ali. May Allah be pleased with him, the beloved grandson of the Prophet Muhammad. Peace and blessings be upon him. We spoke of his principles, his courage, and his refusal to compromise his faith. Today, let us walk together into the valley of Karbala to understand not just what happened, but why it continues to inspire hearts 14 centuries later. When Hussain set out on his journey, he did not carry armies, nor did he carry treasures. He carried only his family, his companions, and above all, his faith in Allah. The journey was filled with warnings. People advised him not to go. People told him the opposition was too strong. But Hussain knew that there comes a time when you must trust Allah more than you fear the consequences. He knew that the message of his grandfather, the Prophet, was too sacred to be distorted, too pure to be corrupted by tyranny, and too valuable to be sold for comfort. As Hussain and his companions reached Karbala, they faced an enemy that outnumbered them many times over. Imagine the scene. My brothers and sisters, on one side a small group, families, children, men and women, thirsty and weary under the scorching sun. On the other side, a powerful army, well armed, determined to crush them. By worldly logic, it was a hopeless battle. By worldly calculation, Hussain had no chance. But faith is not measured by numbers. Faith is measured by conviction. And Hussain's conviction was stronger than thousands of swords. The army blocked the water supply, denying even the children a drop to drink. Imagine the cries of the little ones, their lips dry, their throats parched, calling out for water. Yet Hussain stood firm. He reminded his companions that their mission was not about worldly victory. It was about standing for truth, regardless of the cost. He told them they were free to leave if they wished, that he would not hold them back, for he did not want anyone to suffer unwillingly. But what did his companions say? They said, "O Hussain, even if we were killed and brought back to life 1,000 times, we would still stand with you." What kind of love is this? What kind of loyalty is this? It is the love of truth, the loyalty to Allah, and the willingness to sacrifice everything for the sake of preserving the honor of Islam. My brothers and sisters, let us pause here. Look at our own lives. Many of us struggle to even wake up for Fajr on time. Many of us find it hard to give a little charity. Many of us hesitate to stand for truth in front of a small group of people. Yet here were men, women, and children willing to give their lives for one principle, that Allah alone deserves obedience. Hussein's companions teach us that faith is not just about personal comfort, it is about collective responsibility. Each of them could have chosen an easy path, but they chose the harder one because they understood that truth demands sacrifice. And so they remained. The day of Ashura arrived, and with it, the test of a lifetime. Hussain looked at his companions and praised them as the most loyal companions any man could ever have. He prayed the night before, his voice rising in devotion, filling the desert with the remembrance of Allah. Even in the face of certain death, Hussain did not forget prayer. My beloved brothers and sisters, how many of us remember prayer when the smallest difficulty comes our way? Hussain's example shows us that prayer is not abandoned when life gets hard. It is embraced even more, for it is through prayer that we gain strength. One by one, his companions went forth. Each one recited words of courage. Each one fell upon the battlefield, their blood soaking the sands of Karbala, their names written forever in the pages of history. And Hussain stood firm, watching with patience, never questioning Allah's decree, never doubting the wisdom of the Almighty. Then came the turn of his family. Imagine the pain in Hussein's heart as he watched his loved ones step into the battlefield. His own sons, his nephews, his brothers, all giving their lives. And then came the moment when even a child, the innocent Ali Asghar, only a baby, was brought forth, his lips dry, his cries soft, asking only for water. Hussain raised him up, appealing to the enemy, saying, "If you do not care for me, then at least give water to this innocent child." But the cruelty of the enemy knew no bounds, and an arrow struck the child. Hussein's heart broke, yet his faith remained unshaken. My brothers and sisters, these are not just stories. These are lessons carved into the heart of Islam. The lesson of patience, the lesson of trust in Allah, the lesson that even in the darkest hour, the light of faith cannot be extinguished. Hussain teaches us that even when the world seems against you, if Allah is with you, you have already succeeded. Think about it. The enemy thought they had won. They thought by killing Hussain, they had silenced the truth. Yet today, who remembers their names? They are forgotten, lost in disgrace. But Hussein's name lives on, mentioned with honor, with love, with tears in the eyes of millions. That is the power of sincerity. When you do something purely for Allah, the world cannot erase your legacy. My beloved brothers and sisters, let us bring this lesson into our daily lives. We may not face a battlefield with swords and arrows, but we face battles of temptation, battles of injustice, battles of peer pressure, and battles within our hearts. Every time you choose truth over falsehood, you are walking the path of Hussain. Every time you resist temptation and hold on to your principles, you are walking the path of Hussain. Every time you say, "I will not compromise my deen, even if the whole world pressures me," you are walking the path of Hussain. Hussein's sacrifice also teaches us about the temporary nature of this world. Wealth, power, status, all of it fades. The men who stood against Hussain had power, armies, and authority. But what did it benefit them? Their power could not save them from disgrace. Their wealth could not save them from the curse of history. Their armies could not protect them from Allah's judgment. Hussain, though he lost everything in this world, gained everything in the hereafter. And that, my brothers and sisters, is the true success. Allah tells us in the Quran, do not think of those who are killed in the path of Allah as dead. Rather, they are alive with their Lord, receiving provision. Hussain and his companions are alive, honored by Allah, rewarded beyond measure. Their sacrifice was not loss, it was victory. So ask yourself today, what are you living for? Is it only for wealth, comfort, and status? Or are you living for Allah, the one who will remain when everything else is gone? Hussein's story shakes us from heedlessness, reminding us that every soul will taste death. But what matters is how we lived before that moment. Did we live for Allah? Or did we live for ourselves? The patience of Hussein's sister, Zainab, may Allah be pleased with her, also gives us lessons. After the battle, she was taken captive, yet her tongue spoke only truth. She stood in the courts of tyrants, fearless, reminding them that they may have taken lives, but they could not take dignity, and they could not erase truth, and they could not silence the message of Islam. This is the strength of women in Islam, strong in faith, unshaken in adversity, powerful in their reliance on Allah. Brothers and sisters, reflect on your own challenges. You may be struggling at work, struggling with your health, struggling in your family. You may feel outnumbered, alone, or overwhelmed. But remember Hussain, remember Karbala. Remember that victory is not about worldly results. Victory is about staying true to Allah until the end. Hussain teaches us that dignity is more important than survival. It is better to die with truth than to live with falsehood. It is better to be remembered by Allah than to be praised by people. And it is better to suffer for a short time in this world than to face regret in the hereafter. So, my beloved brothers and sisters, as we continue reflecting on the sacrifice of Hussain, let us renew our commitment to our faith. Let us be Muslims not just by name, but by action. Let us be people who are willing to stand for justice, who are willing to speak the truth, who are willing to sacrifice for Allah. This is the legacy of Hussain, a legacy of courage, patience, dignity, and unwavering faith. And if you and I can carry even a small piece of that legacy into our lives, then we too will be among those honored by Allah. My beloved brothers and sisters, we have walked through the life of Hussain ibn Ali. May Allah be pleased with him. From his noble lineage to his courageous stand at Karbala, we have seen his patience, his dignity, and his unwavering commitment to truth. Now, as we conclude this reminder, let us look at what his sacrifice means for us today, for our Ummah, and for our journey toward Allah. Hussain was not only a grandson of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. He was also an inheritor of the Prophet's mission. The Prophet was sent to guide humanity, to remove oppression, to establish justice, and to connect hearts to Allah. Hussain lived that mission until his last breath. His blood on the sands of Karbala was not just spilled. It became a message, a reminder that Islam is not a religion of compromise with falsehood. That dignity is more precious than life. And that truth must be upheld even if the cost is great. Brothers and sisters, what makes Hussein's sacrifice so powerful is not just the pain and tragedy. It is the principles behind it. He stood not for himself, not for power, not for wealth, but for Allah alone. This sincerity is why Allah preserved his memory with honor. And this sincerity is what we need in our own lives today. We live in a time where many are confused, where truth and falsehood are often mixed, where pressures surround us to abandon our values. Look around. Temptations are everywhere, injustices surround us, and faith is often mocked. In such times, remembering Hussain is not about shedding tears only, but about asking ourselves, are we living with the courage of Hussain? Are we raising our children with the dignity of Hussain? Are we choosing the hereafter over the world like Hussain? Hussein's story is not meant to remain in the pages of history. It is meant to live in our actions. His Karbala is meant to awaken us to our own Karbalas. Every believer has a test, a struggle, a battlefield in life. For some, it is the struggle against desires. For others, it is the struggle against injustice at work, in society, or in leadership. For others, it is the struggle to hold on to faith in a world that is pulling them away from Allah. Whatever your Karbala may be, Hussein's lesson is clear: stand firm, even if you stand alone. My beloved brothers and sisters, one of the most beautiful lessons we learn from Hussain is about reliance on Allah. On the day of Ashura, surrounded by enemies, thirsty, with his family in danger, he still turned to Allah in prayer. He still raised his hands to the heavens. He still knew that the ultimate victory belongs to Allah, not to armies, not to power, not to numbers. This is tawakkul, true reliance on Allah. And this is what we need in our own lives. How many of us panic when things don't go our way? How many of us lose hope when a job is lost, when wealth decreases, when people turn against us? Hussain reminds us, do not lose hope, for Allah is with those who are patient. Do not lose faith, for Allah never abandons the sincere. Do not compromise, for Allah's reward is greater than any worldly gain. Think of the words of the Quran. Indeed, with hardship comes ease. At Karbala, the hardship was immense, but the ease was eternal honor, eternal paradise, eternal remembrance. Hussain lost the world, but gained Allah's pleasure. That, my brothers and sisters, is the greatest success. Hussain also teaches us about family. He did not leave his family behind. He carried them with him, teaching us that the stand for truth is not individual. It is communal. Families must stand together in faith. Parents must raise their children with courage. Children must honor their parents with loyalty. Husbands and wives must support each other in the path of Allah. Faith is not lived in isolation. It is lived together as a family, as a community, as an ummah. Look at the patience of Zainab, the sister of Hussain. Look at the bravery of his children. Look at the loyalty of his companions. Each one played a role in preserving the message. Today, we too must play our roles. Some of us are parents, raising the next generation. Some of us are youth, holding the torch of Islam in difficult times. Some of us are leaders guiding communities. Whoever we are, Hussein's message calls us to stand for Allah in our position. Brothers and sisters, another powerful lesson from Hussain is that truth is eternal, while falsehood perishes. The Quran says, and say, truth has come and falsehood has vanished. Indeed, falsehood is bound to vanish. The armies at Karbala thought they had silenced truth, but Allah proved otherwise. Today, no believer utters their names with love, but the name of Hussain is mentioned with tears and honor across the globe. That is the difference between truth and falsehood. Falsehood may appear strong for a moment, but it always collapses. Truth may appear weak for a moment, but it always endures. So when you see corruption, when you see injustice, when you see people mocking faith, do not think falsehood is winning. Remember Karbala. Remember that truth is eternal, and those who stand with it are never forgotten by Allah. My beloved brothers and sisters, as we close this reflection, let us bring the story of Hussain into our own lives. Ask yourself, what am I willing to sacrifice for Allah? Am I willing to sacrifice my sins, my pride, my arrogance, my greed, for the sake of my Lord? Am I willing to sacrifice haram income for the sake of halal, even if it means less wealth? Am I willing to sacrifice worldly approval to earn Allah's approval? Hussain gave everything. Surely we can give something. And remember, sacrifice is not just about giving your life. It is about giving your time for prayer, your wealth for charity, your energy for serving others, your heart for Allah. Every sacrifice you make is written with honor, just as the sacrifice of Hussain is written in history. Hussein's sacrifice also reminds us of the day of judgment. On that day, power, armies, and wealth will mean nothing. Only faith, deeds, and sincerity will matter. On that day, The legacy of Hussain will shine as a testimony that those who stood with Allah will be honored, while those who stood against truth will be humiliated. My brothers and sisters, let us not just admire Hussain. Let us follow his example. Let us teach our children about his courage. Let us remind ourselves of his patience. Let us live his principle, Allah first, always. And finally, let us make dua. Ya Allah, just as you honored Hussain for standing firm, grant us the strength to stand firm in our own lives. Ya Allah, protect our faith, guide our hearts, and keep us among those who never compromise truth. Ya Allah, grant us the patience of Hussain, the courage of Hussain, the dignity of Hussain, and above all, the sincerity of Hussain. Ya Allah, reunite us with the Prophet Muhammad. Peace and blessings be upon him, with Hussain and with the righteous in the gardens of Jannah. Amin. My beloved brothers and sisters, this is the legacy of Hussain, a legacy that calls every believer to live with courage, patience, and faith. Carry it in your heart. Live it in your actions. Pass it on to your children. And remember, the story of Hussain is not just history. It is a light for every generation until the end of time.